Hello students, कैसे हैं आप सब? Welcome to today's conceptual masterclass. If you're preparing for competitive exams like the railways or SSC, you know the time. Time is literally your biggest enemy, right? Simple interest is one of those topics that comes up all the time, and unfortunately, so many students get stuck doing these massive long calculations. But not anymore. Today we're going to look at some absolutely brilliant shortcuts directly from Pushpendra Sir's class notes. Consider this your quick, high-speed explainer to solve these questions in seconds. So grab your notebooks, sit up straight, and let's dive into this.
जल्दी से देख लेते हैं आज का लेसन प्लान क्या है. First, we'll cover the n times trick for multiply problems. Then, cracking time traps with those tricky calendar dates. After that, the two amounts mystery, and we'll wrap up with some absolutely crucial final exam tips. Let's go!
Alright, starting right off with section 1, the n times shortcut.
Okay, so for these guna wali sawal, where your money multiplies, just look at the comparison here. Students usually waste so much precious exam time on these, but there's a logic that makes them almost mental math. On one side, we have the traditional school method. You know the drill. You write SI equals P into R into T over 100, you substitute variables, you move things across the equal sign, and honestly, it's just way too slow. School method bilkul bhul jao exam hall ke liye. On the other side, we have Pushpendra Sir's method. It relies entirely on lightning-fast ratio and percentage logic. It's visual, it's direct, and it literally saves you minutes per question. Let me show you exactly how this works with a real problem.
ध्यान से देखो इस सवाल को. This is problem 20 from our notes. The question says, if a sum of money at simple interest becomes 36 times in 100 years, then it will become 29 times in how many years? Now, before you rush to grab a formula, just pause for a second and observe. A sum becomes 36 times. What does that actually mean for our interest?
Let's break down the logic step by step. Imagine your principal is just one single unit. If the amount becomes 36, how much extra did you actually earn? Well, 36 minus 1, which is 35. That 35 is your pure simple interest. So the logic is super simple. 35 units of interest take 100 years. Now the question asks when it becomes 29 times. And 29 times means earning an interest of, you guessed it, 28. If 35 units equal 100 years, then 1 unit is 100 divided by 35. Multiply that by 28, and boom, you get 80 years. No complex formulas, just the basic unitary method. This brilliantly shows just how powerful ratios really are. Moving right along, let's look at a very special variation of this trick. Take a really close look at problem 27, the simple interest at R% per annum. On a certain principal, P is 16/25ths of P. If R is equal to the number of years n, find the value of n. Whenever you see this exact phrase, rate equals time or R equals n, you need to smile. Because guys, this is literally a free mark. Here's the shortcut formula you absolutely must memorize. When R equals n, you just take the fraction given for the interest, multiply it by 100, and take the square root. That's it. But why does this work? Well, if you look at the cross multiplication, when you set R and n to be exactly the same, multiplying them gives you n squared. So for our specific problem, 16 by 25 into 100 is 64. And the square root of 64 is 8. So your answer is 8 years. It's simple, direct, and leaves zero chances for calculation errors. Okay, moving to section 2, cracking time traps. Let's talk about those tricky calendar dates. See, examiners know you're fast with clean numbers like 2 years or 5 years. So to ruin your speed and really test your patience under pressure, they give you specific calendar dates. Notice problem 17 here. Find the simple interest on 9,600 rupees from 18 October 2021 to 13 March 2022. When students see this in the exam hall, instant panic sets in. Counting days feels like it's going to take forever. But notice how neatly it's solved in the notes. Let me walk you through the logic. You just have to calculate the days step by step. October has 31 days. We start after the 18th, so that's 13 days left in October. Then we just add the full months. November is 30, December is 31, January is 31, and February in 2022 is 28 days. Finally, we go up to March 13th, so we add 13 days. Add them all up together, 13 plus 30, 31, 31, 28, and 13. The total is exactly 146 days. Now look really closely at that number, 146. It is definitely not a random number. This brings us to my absolute favorite part of today's lesson. Consider this your top secret exam cheat code. The examiner is not actually trying to make you suffer with random fractions. These date ranges are carefully engineered to hit very specific totals. Just look at these 3 golden numbers. I want you to write these bullet points down right now. In railway and state exams, the day count will almost always be a multiple of 73. And why is that? Because 73 days is exactly 1/5 of a 365-day year. 146 days is exactly 2/5 of a year. And 219 days is 3/5 of a year. So in our previous problem, instead of plugging in 146 over 365 and confusing yourself, you just instantly write 2/5 in your formula. The fractions will cancel out perfectly with the 100 in the denominator. Memorize these golden numbers, and I promise you, you will absolutely fly through date-based questions. All right, moving into section 3, 2 amounts, 1 rate. Let's solve the double amount mystery. So this is a classic question pattern where a starting principal grows to 2 completely different totals over 2 different time periods, and then they ask you for the rate or the principal. Let's look at problem 22. A certain sum of money amounts to $1,250 in 2 years and to $2,000 in 5 years. At first glance, this looks really confusing, right? You don't know the starting principal, and you don't know the interest rate. 2 unknowns usually mean simultaneous equations. But again, school methods are way too slow. We use logic. Let's solve the mystery. Just look at the beautiful simplicity of the subtraction method here. In 2 years, it's $1,250. In 5 years, it's $2,000. So what is the difference in time? It's 3 years. And what is the difference in the amount? 2,000 minus 1,250 equals 750 rupees. Because simple interest stays constant every single year, that extra 750 rupees is purely the interest earned over those extra 3 years. So interest for 1 year is 750 divided by 3, which is 250. Once you know 1 year's interest is 250, you can so easily find the 2-year interest, subtract it from the 1,250 amount, and instantly find your principal. It's just so logical and satisfying. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, teacher, this only works for the easy numbers. Well, take a quick look at problem 28. Here it amounts to 16,956 in 4 years and 19,116 in 6.5 years. It looks messy, doesn't it? But the exact same logic works flawlessly. The time difference is 2.5 years. The amount difference is the interest for those 2.5 years. You just subtract, divide, and conquer. Please don't let decimals scare you away from a totally solid concept. Finally, let's wrap up with section 4, final exam tips. As we finish off today's masterclass, I want to share a few broader exam thoughts with you all. You've seen how powerful these shortcuts are, but remember, shortcuts only work if your foundation is strong. Notice this checklist from the notes: ratios, percentages, allegations, profit and loss, simple interest. What you really must take away from today is that math is not about memorizing 100 different formulas. It is all about pattern recognition. The ratio logic we use today for simple interest is the exact same logic you're going to use in profit and loss. Connect the ideas, bachal. Keep practicing these specific archetypes until you can literally solve them in your sleep. I believe in you all. You can definitely crack this exam.
अगर आपको ये वीडियो हेल्पफुल लगा हो तो प्लीज़ लाइक, शेयर और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना मत भूलना। सारे